The vanishing of a black student that left a town silent. In a quiet town, where nothing ever seemed to change, one disappearance would break the silence, forever. It was the kind of town where people left their doors unlocked, neighbors trusted one another, and the loudest sound at night was the chirping of crickets under the moonlight. But everything changed the day a black student vanished without a trace. Her name was Maya Johnson. She was smart, ambitious, and full of life, just 19 years old, studying political science at Ridgewood College, a small community school in a mostly conservative town. She had dreams of becoming a lawyer, of standing up for the voiceless. But one Friday evening, Maya walked out of her dorm room and was never seen again. What followed wasn't just a missing persons case. It was the unraveling of secrets buried in a town that prided itself on peace. A silence so heavy, people were afraid to speak, because in that silence, something sinister was hiding. This is the story of Maya Johnson's vanishing. Friday, September 14th. It started like any other day for Maya. Her roommate, Tasha, remembered waking up to the smell of coffee, Maya's morning ritual. She loved her coffee dark, no sugar, no cream. "Girl, you're gonna need it. We've got Professor Hamilton today," Tasha teased, rolling over in bed. Maya laughed. "That man could bore the devil to death, but I'll survive." The day went on as usual with classes, study groups, laughter in the cafeteria. Nothing seemed unusual. But sometimes, the most ordinary days hold the darkest secrets. At 6:45 p.m., Maya texted Tasha. "Heading to the library. Be back soon." But Maya never made it back. When the campus library closed at 10 p.m., security cameras showed something chilling. Maya was there, at a table near the window, studying. Around 8:52 p.m., she packed her books neatly into her bag. And then, she walked out. That was the last confirmed sighting of her. At first, no one panicked. College students pull all-nighters all the time. Maybe she went to a friend's room. Maybe she stayed late at the library. But when morning came, and her bed was untouched, panic set in. Tasha reported Maya missing. The campus police took the report, but their response was frustratingly casual. "She's probably with friends," one officer shrugged. "Give it 48 hours. But Tasha knew Maya. She wasn't the type to just disappear. Her phone was off, something she never did. Her laptop, her wallet, her ID, they were all left in her dorm room. And the biggest red flag? Maya had an important internship interview scheduled for Monday. She had been preparing for weeks. There was no way she'd miss it. By Sunday, whispers had spread across campus. By Monday, the entire town was buzzing. But behind closed doors, some people weren't just whispering. They were hiding. Ridgewood was a small town with a big secret. On the surface, it looked peaceful, churches on every corner, kids riding bikes in cul-de-sacs, friendly smiles at the grocery store. But beneath that surface, there was a quiet tension. Maya was one of the few black students at Ridgewood College. She was outspoken, fearless, unafraid to challenge professors or speak out against injustice. Some admired her. Others, not so much. When she disappeared, people reacted in two ways. Some were desperate to find her. Others seemed eager to forget her. Posters went up. Social media campaigns started. But strangely, some residents of the town complained. "Why are you bringing all this noise here?" a shop owner muttered when students passed out flyers. "Things like this don't happen in Ridgewood," another woman insisted. "That girl probably just ran off." But did Maya run off? Or was there something the town didn't want people to know? The police finally launched a search, but the way they handled it raised more questions than answers. They searched the library area, but claimed there was no sign of foul play. Yet students who walked the same path as Maya noticed something odd. Right outside the library, near the woods, was a single black sneaker. It matched the kind Maya always wore. When students reported it, the shoe mysteriously disappeared before investigators could log it. CCTV footage from nearby cameras? Conveniently missing. The college administration urged students to stay calm and focus on their studies. But to Maya's friends, it felt like a cover-up. And then, there was the phone call. Tasha received it 2 days after Maya's disappearance. A muffled voice whispered, "Stop looking for her, or you'll be next." Then the line went dead. Ridgewood was surrounded by deep woods, thick, dark, and unwelcoming at night. Rumors spread that Maya had been seen walking toward the woods after leaving the library. But why would she go there alone? Some students believed she had gone to meet someone. A secret friend. A hidden relationship. Others whispered darker theories that she had stumbled onto something she wasn't supposed to see. Late one evening, a group of students decided to search the woods themselves. Their flashlights cut through the darkness as branches cracked under their feet. The deeper they went, the colder it felt. And then, they saw it. Carved into the trunk of an old oak tree were the letters, MJ. Fresh. Raw. As if scratched in with a knife just days before. But when they returned with police, the carving was gone. The longer Maya was missing, the more divided the town became. Students protested, demanding answers. Flyers filled every wall. Hashtags about Maya trended online. But some townsfolk grew hostile. "This is blowing things out of proportion. You're making us look bad. That girl brought this on herself." It was as if Maya's disappearance had pulled back the curtain on something ugly, deep-seated prejudice, old grudges, and a chilling fear of the truth. Because the truth was, people knew more than they were saying. Every time a reporter came close to uncovering something, doors slammed shut. Witnesses went silent. Evidence vanished. It was almost as if someone powerful was keeping the town quiet. One night, Tasha received an anonymous envelope slipped under her dorm door. Inside was a single USB drive. When she plugged it into her laptop, her heart stopped. The drive contained campus security footage, unedited. Footage that the police claimed didn't exist. And on that footage, at 8:57 p.m., just minutes after Maya left the library, a dark SUV pulled up near woods. Maya approached the vehicle. The driver's face wasn't visible. She leaned down, as if talking to someone inside. Then, the door opened. Maya stepped in. The SUV drove off. And that was it. Tasha wanted to hand the footage over to the police, but something stopped her. The voice on the phone, the disappearing evidence, the hostility from the town. Who could she trust? She showed the video only to a small circle of Maya's closest friends. And that's when the theories exploded. Who was in the SUV? Why did the police lie about the footage? And why did the town seem so desperate to bury the truth? For every answer, there were more questions. And in the silence that covered Ridgewood, fear grew louder. Maya Johnson's vanishing was no longer just a missing persons case. It had become something bigger. Something darker. A student's disappearance had cracked open the fragile peace of a small town, and what spilled out was enough to haunt everyone who dared to look closer. The question now was not just what happened to Maya, but who wanted her gone? And just how far would they go to keep the truth buried? Maya Johnson's vanishing was no longer just a missing persons case. It had become something bigger. Something darker. A student's disappearance had cracked open the fragile peace of a small town, and what spilled out was enough to haunt everyone who dared to look closer. The question now was not just what happened to Maya, but who wanted her gone, and how far they would go to keep the truth buried. Tasha couldn't stop replaying the hidden footage. She watched it again and again until her eyes burned. Maya wasn't lost, she hadn't run away. She had stepped into that black SUV, the one no one was supposed to see. The reflection of the license plate glowed for only a second, but it was enough, 3 characters, blurred yet clear enough to make out, 7K9. The thought ate at her. She sat with a small group of friends in a locked dorm room, their whispers trembling with fear. One asked, why would Maya get into a car at night? Another murmured, she must have known the person. or trusted them. And then the silence fell, heavy, suffocating, because all of them remembered what car matched that description. A sleek black SUV, tinted windows, polished to perfection. And it belonged to someone who stood above suspicion, Dean Richard Hamilton. It seemed impossible. The dean was powerful, respected, untouchable. He chaired the college board, shook hands with city officials, and had friends in the police. But Maya had argued with him, boldly, openly, just a week before she disappeared. She had accused him of silencing black voices in his class, of rewriting history to erase the truth. She had been unafraid. And maybe that had made her dangerous. The next evening, Tasha found a note pushed under her door. The words, written in thick black strokes, made her hands go cold. You don't know what you're walking into. Stop now. Her chest tightened, but the warning didn't stop her. Later that night, she crossed campus alone, her steps quick in the empty dark. And there it was, at the far end of the lot, engine humming softly, lights off. The black SUV. She froze, heart racing, before rushing inside. She didn't look back. But she felt it. The eyes. The watching. By then Maya's parents had arrived. Exhausted, desperate, they demanded answers. But the police chief gave them only excuses, paperwork, lack of evidence, vague promises of resources. He couldn't even meet their eyes. Afterward, a family friend who worked in the mayor's office whispered a chilling warning: don't push too hard. There are people here who don't want the truth out. The higher you go, the worse it gets. Tasha couldn't sleep. The woods pulled at her thoughts. Whispers floated through campus, screams in the night, strange lights in the trees. She couldn't resist. She took a flashlight and went in. Branches cracked beneath her, the silence thick, pressing against her skin. Then she saw it, caught on a branch, a strip of fabric, torn and frayed. Dark red. She lifted it, her throat tight. It looked like blood. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She answered. The voice, distorted and cold, slithered into her ear. I warned you. Leave the woods, or you'll end up just like her. The line went dead. By now, the story had slipped beyond Ridgewood's control. Journalists and bloggers sniffed around, activists demanded answers. One night, a reporter named Marcus approached Tasha. He told her he had been digging into the town long before Maya vanished. His findings were terrifying. Ridgewood had a history. 3 other young women had disappeared in the last 15 years. None were found. All cases quietly closed. And every time, someone had seen the same thing near the last sighting, a black SUV. Together they searched deeper. Their trail led to an old maintenance building at the edge of campus, boarded up, forgotten. Inside, behind chains and dust, they found a locked room. Marcus forced it open. The smell of mildew and rot filled their lungs. And then their flashlights caught it. Photographs. Dozens of them. Women. Young, scared, smiling, unaware. Some images looked like surveillance, others like trophies. And in the center of the wall, pinned with a rusted tack, was Maya. The pictures showed her leaving the library, just hours before she vanished. The discovery left them shaken, but they didn't have long to process it. 2 nights later, flames lit the sky. The building burned to the ground, reduced to nothing but ash. Investigators found traces of accelerant. Someone had destroyed the evidence. Someone who knew exactly what Tasha and Marcus had seen. Fear clamped down on them. Whoever this was, they weren't just powerful, they were watching, always a step ahead. Every clue they uncovered was erased, buried before it could breathe in the light. And then came the message. Tasha opened her laptop one morning and froze. An email. From Maya's account. The subject line read, "Help me." Her breath caught as she clicked. The message inside was only 5 words, "Don't trust anyone in Ridgewood." The timestamp made her knees weaken. It had been sent 4 days after Maya disappeared. which meant Maya was alive. Or at least she had been. The silence around Ridgewood was crumbling. The SUV, the hidden photographs, the email, they were pieces of a puzzle pointing to something vast and organized, something the town had worked hard to hide. Maya's vanishing was not an accident. It was part of a pattern, a dark thread running through Ridgewood's past. And if her warning was true, then the enemy wasn't lurking in the shadows. The enemy was already here, woven into the very fabric of the town. The silence of Ridgewood was breaking. For weeks, the town had swallowed the truth, burying whispers and covering tracks. But the discovery of the photographs, the SUV, the threatening calls, and now Maya's desperate email had changed everything. She was alive, at least 4 days after she vanished. That single fact burned in Tasha's mind like fire. She clung to it, even as the town grew colder around her. Every step she took, she felt eyes following. Every door she knocked on was slammed shut. Neighbors who had once smiled now turned away, lips pressed tight, as if silence was safer than truth. Marcus was certain they were close. He had seen it before. When power hides something, the resistance grows strongest just before the walls crumble. He pushed Tasha to keep digging, even when her hands trembled with fear. If Maya said not to trust anyone here, he whispered one night, it means the rot runs deep. The ones pretending to protect us are the ones we should fear. The license plate was their key. Marcus pulled strings, reached contacts, and traced it back. The SUV wasn't registered to the college. It wasn't even registered in Ridgewood. It belonged to a private company, one that provided security for town events, funded partly by the same college board chaired by Dean Hamilton. Tasha felt her stomach twist. The dean's connections reached farther than anyone imagined. He didn't just run classrooms. He ran influence. But the final blow came when Marcus received an anonymous message. It had no sender, no signature, just an address at the edge of town. A place most avoided, an old farmhouse abandoned years ago. They drove out together, hearts pounding. The building sagged against the night sky, its windows dark, roof caving in. Yet inside, the air was charged, heavy with something more than dust. In the basement, hidden behind a wall of rotting shelves, they found a door bolted shut from the outside. Marcus forced it open. The stench hit them first, damp air, mold, fear. Their flashlights swept the room, and Tasha's breath caught in her throat. A mattress. Torn blankets. Empty food containers. Scratches on the wall, carved by desperate hands. And in the corner, a small silver bracelet. Maya's bracelet. The one she never took off. Tasha dropped to her knees, clutching it to her chest, tears blurring her vision. She had been here. Alive. Trapped. Alone. But before they could move, a sound froze them both, the faint creak of a floorboard above. Someone else was in the house. They killed their flashlights, pressing themselves against the damp wall, hearts thundering. Heavy boots descended the stairs, one by one. A tall shadow filled the doorway. And then, the beam of another flashlight cut through the dark. Dean Hamilton's face appeared in the glow. His expression was calm. Too calm. I warned you, he said softly, as if speaking to children. You don't understand the cost of digging into things you can't control. Tasha's voice cracked. Where is she? What did you do to Maya? Hamilton's eyes narrowed, and for the first time, his mask slipped. His voice was colder, sharper. Maya was brave. Too brave. She asked questions she shouldn't have. She wanted to expose something this town has lived with for decades. I couldn't allow that. Marcus stepped forward, his voice shaking but firm. So you took her? Locked her away? Hamilton let out a laugh, not cruel, but hollow, resigned. You think this is about me? No. I am not the hand, only the finger. Ridgewood runs on silence. That girl wanted to tear it apart. We couldn't let her. Before they could react, another light flared behind him. Another set of footsteps. The police chief emerged, gun glinting at his side. He looked at Hamilton, then at the two of them, and shook his head. "You were told to stop," he muttered. The truth crashed down like thunder. The dean. The police. The entire system was bound together, protecting something, hiding something darker than one student's disappearance. Marcus whispered, "It's bigger than her." "Isn't it?" The chief didn't answer. But the silence said everything. Then, suddenly, a sound cut through the tension. A voice, faint but clear, echoed from the back of the basement. Weak. Fragile. But alive. Tasha. Her heart leapt. Maya. She stumbled toward the sound, ignoring Hamilton's warning, ignoring the chief's weapon. There, hidden behind another locked door, was Maya, thin, pale, eyes wide with terror but still burning with the fire that made her who she was. Tasha tried to wrench the lock, but Hamilton's voice stopped her cold. "If she leaves, you all pay. Do you hear me? All of you." Maya's hand pressed weakly against the small gap in the door. "Don't listen," she whispered. "Don't stop. Not now." The chief raised his gun, but Marcus stepped in front of Tasha, shielding her. His voice trembled. "If you silence her, the whole world will know. We have the footage. We have the photos. It's already out there." Hamilton's calm shattered. His jaw tightened, his eyes blazing. For the first time, fear flashed across his face, not fear of them, but fear of exposure. The standoff hung in the air like a noose, every breath heavier than the last. Then, from outside, came the sound of sirens. Dozens of them. Red and blue lights cut across the broken windows, flooding the farmhouse. Voices shouted, boots slammed against the ground. Reporters, activists, outsiders, they had followed the trail. The truth had leaked. Hamilton's face went pale. The chief lowered his weapon. The silence of Ridgewood had finally been broken. Tasha reached through the door, gripping Maya's trembling hand as tears streamed down her face. Relief, terror, and rage collided inside her. The nightmare wasn't over. It was only beginning. Because as Hamilton was dragged away, his words echoed, low and venomous. "You think you've won. But you've only touched the surface. Ridgewood's secrets don't end with me. And by the time you realize how deep this goes, it will already be too late." Maya's grip tightened. Her eyes, though weak, locked onto Tasha's. And with a voice that sent chills through everyone in the room, she whispered the words that would haunt them all. "They're still out there." The farmhouse filled with flashing lights, reporters shouting, and police scrambling. But inside, in the darkness, the weight of those words lingered like a shadow that would never leave. The vanishing of Maya Johnson was no longer just the story of one girl. It was the opening of a door that should have stayed closed. A door that revealed the monster wasn't a person. It was the town itself. And the silence of Ridgewood would never return.